he was discussing with his buddy
Mhm.
if Dak Prescott is elite or not. He think the needle has to be moved up because of Mahomes, Russell Wilson. How many elite QBs are in the NFL? So I'll ask you, how many elite QBs do you think are in the NFL?
I would say, I guess it depends how you define elite, but I would probably go with comfortably 5. I want to say 6. But if you could probably convince me otherwise because I haven't thought too much about this, but what would you say?
I would say 5 with a possible 6 because that 6th guy is kind of in a weird spot. So the 5 I would say is Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, at maybe 7, with 6 and 7 kind of being in weird positions. But I would say Mahomes, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and Aaron Rodgers. Those would be the 5 I would say for sure. The 6th guy that's kind of in a weird spot is Tom Brady, because obviously it's tough to count out his winning impact, but then what he's doing for the wins is maybe not as much as these guys, because we're getting into intangible impact and leadership instead of like what the quarterback is actually doing on the field and what he's doing for the offense. Because I mean, this is a guy who just won an NFC championship game in which he threw 3 interceptions. Like, that doesn't happen for Patrick Mahomes. That doesn't happen for Josh Allen. That doesn't happen for these guys. So he's kind of the weird. And then the 7th is Lamar Jackson, because he's an MVP and he's kind of done the weird thing. But I don't think in terms of just making as many physically gifted plays with his arm and all of that, even though he is a good thrower, he's an underrated one. He just doesn't have the greatest scheme and weapons. He's just not as good as the 5 aforementioned guys who are just spectacular in Allen, Watson, Mahomes. This is no particular order. Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Okay, yeah, I had the first 6 as you. Besides, I had Lamar instead of Tom, but I was thinking about Tom, throwing him in there. I don't know where I rank him. It's so hard to rank him, honestly, in my mind, just because, as you've mentioned, there will be games where it's NFC Championship game. He'll throw 3 interceptions. He'll have like a 80 passer rating, and they'll win. And you're like, well, he played pretty good, but at the same time, he threw 3 interceptions, and they have like the best defense in the league. So it's kind of tough. But I guess we get back to this. So we both have 6 or 7 elite quarterbacks. Both of us do. Kind of the same guys. Do you think Dak should be in there, though? Would you put him in there, Vish, or no? I don't think I would yet.
No. To me, Dak is kind of the guy that could be in this group if you gave him an incredible roster with an incredible offensive line, incredible play caller. Like, he could put up a 45 touchdown, 5 interception season, but he's just not as gifted as these guys. Dak Prescott is the 7 to 12, the tier that Tony Romo lived in for years, Carson Palmer lived in for years, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, these guys. I would say Big Ben's even closer, at least in his prime, to the elite group. Maybe he's maybe in the Lamar.
Most of the time he was in.
Right, he's maybe in the Lamar conversation where he's just there, but he's not exactly there all the time. I think Dak is just that a little tick below, but he's an unbelievable quarterback. You could easily win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. I just don't think Dallas does a very good job with their roster construction year in and year out, which is why I think he gets screwed.
No, I'm with you. And I think I'd say him and Kyler are 2 of the guys that, if they could make or like carry their team to, I mean, honestly, if the Cowboys made the playoffs, I would probably consider Dak elite, because that roster's kind of hot trash right now. And for Kyler, if they can make deeper runs in the playoffs, that's where I think I would start saying, all right, this guy is definitely elite in the sense that we just really haven't seen either of them do that. Now, Dak did make the divisional game against the Packers, and I really thought it was up in the air for taking, and that I'm kind of, it was his first year, but if this was Dak now and he couldn't win against those Packers, I would struggle, because that defense was really not good. I mean, we all saw what the Falcons did to them in 2016. It was
to be fair, though, as a rookie starting his first playoff game, Dak played unbelievable in that game.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I was originally going to say that was bad, but he is a rookie, and that was really impressive for a rookie. But I think that's what a few of these guys are missing now, and you kind of need to see postseason success before you can say a guy's elite, because if they're not elite when it's January, then when does it all really matter what they can do in the regular season is kind of the bottom line.
Right. The only difficult thing with the postseason success is you have to also try and judge it fairly. So like,
yeah, because there's a team.
Could they have realistically won that game?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Right? Like Deshaun Watson, could he have realistically beaten that Chiefs? Even though they were up 24-0, that roster he had around him was not going to compete with that Patrick Mahomes Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl. So that's where it becomes a little difficult. And, a guy like Russell Wilson, like they probably should have beaten the Rams last year, but he was just not playing really good football in December. But then he's also Russell freaking Wilson. So I guess he's due to have one bad month and a half of football in his life because he hasn't really had that.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's also another good point. Like, I don't think me and you really harp on Stafford not being – he wouldn't not be elite because Joique Bell was his starting running back for years on end, or Reggie Bush, or Javid Best were like the best guys he had. It's a little unrealistic to go in with that. And the Deshaun Watson point's great as well. Like, okay, his defense got 51 points hung on them. I think it was 7 straight scoring possessions in a row. Like, imagine being the quarterback, and every time you step off the field – it's just Travis Kelce beating a double team or beating your safety, like,
and then dancing in your end zone.
Yeah, doing a potato sack touchdown celebration. That was one of the. They have some good celebrations.
They do.
Between Tyreek Hill throwing up like the little peace sign, and then Travis Kelce's always doing something, I don't know, moronic or funny. So that's just that. But good question, Pinor. So I guess to sum it all up, we would not say Dak Prescott is elite, but he has the potential to jump in there. We have like 6 or 7 elite guys. We said the names. I think that's
mostly everybody's name.
5 of them, everyone's having in there. 6 and 7. I guess most people would have Tom, but we're, I guess, think a little differently sometimes. But